grade at top of the world.
And they know how wonderful that place is, and now they understand that one of the reasons they're here to talk is that this is partially a fundraiser to send underprivileged kids to that camp.
And almost all the trash from our coast here in Laguna goes out to that gyre. And that gyre is so compact, so dense, that you would probably find about 100 small plastic lighters in about 5 square feet. It's insane, really.
There are people out there who pick up trash for the world because they care. They care about you. They care about us. They care about the world. And they all had one dream. They dreamed to make the world a better place. That's my dream too, and I hope it's yours too. Thank you and good night.
It brings hope to me to know that the next generation, these kids are really stewarding the ocean seriously. So, way to go, Terrell, for rising those kids up. And
camp, we're very excited about all the environmental stuff that happens, and it's really good to see the kids putting that to use outside their life.
As far as the teaching children, I've seen a difference in their life. They come into the camp and they're all like, oh, you know, everything's first world problems, but when they're leaving, they're thinking on a much broader scale. They're thinking about the environment. I've been on a boat with children, and there's a plastic bag
on a dream, on a crystal clear ocean, to ride on the crest of a wild raging storm, to work in the service of life and the living, in search of the answers to questions unknown.
Jurisdiction in the Pacific. These are all beautiful coral reefs. Nobody lives in these places for the most part, except Hawaii. But some of these remote islands, nobody lives there, and they're now protected in perpetuity. So we know we're beginning to level the playing field between the ocean and the land in terms of protecting our ocean here. Any benefits to the environment. Scientists tell us that protecting the ocean is a good idea. We hear this over and over. In unprotected areas, there are fewer fish. There's a lot less biodiversity, if you will. Scientists, we have lots of information that tells us that protecting the ocean is a good idea. Biomass goes up, density goes up. Areas that really represented some of the most spectacular places: Carmel Bay and Point Lobos State Park, the Big Sur Coast, Point Diablo Canyon. There's a nuclear power plant in that photo on the bottom, believe it or not, right there on the coast. Let me give you an example. Here's the Big Sur Coast, Point Sur, the Point Sur Lighthouse. The red area inshore is fully protected, no fishing, no extractive activity of any kind. Offshore, you can do certain kinds of fishing, but no bottom. So, thank you for all your support. It meant a lot to us on the commission.
Sharks, like a tiger shark, if you turn it upside down, that goes into TI, tonic immobility. And so you could work on it. Now, turning a 5-foot white shark over is pretty easy. Turning a 15-foot tiger shark over is a little more difficult. But during this time, we could put satellite tags, acoustic tags, draw blood, take morphometrics, and then release the shark. And that is kind of the essence of this research program, is because our husbandry program, which wanted to learn how to take care of sharks, we needed to learn about the natural behavior of these sharks. We needed to know how much time they spend in certain temperatures, what depth of water. So our research and our husbandry really complemented each other because the tags collected a lot more data than the husbandry team needed. You can see they're just like puppies with sharp teeth. We would boat all the way to Marina Del Rey, and then some lifeguards said, why don't you use the Malibu Pier? And it knocked off an hour of our transit time. So we would move the shark in a shark box, move it across the street where we had a tuna transport tank, which some of the truckers thought that was the Monterey Bay Aquarium, which was bizarre. We'd lift the shark up initially in Marina Del Rey into the transport tank, and then we would wait for our vet. And our vet would look at the shark, and up to 40 minutes he'd just look in the window until you could see the shark just really relax swimming around before we could leave. And then you go on the highway. Nothing? And it's kind of weird because you go to these truck stops and, you know, like, what do you got? Well, I got a white shark. Yeah, and then like, the guy holds you the thing, I'll take another hit. You know, it's like, how many times do you see white sharks going up the highway? And this is the same Tunabago that we move our yellowfin, bluefin, and Dorado from San Diego all the way up to the aquarium. So this is, and then you just get the shark to swim in the thing and wave to it. You can see how it just, then you put it in a box and you flip it over in TI and you roll it across. And you get on top of the exhibit and you let it go. And you say, wow, that took 3 years. And everyone says like, well, that wasn't hard, you know. And
yeah.
What we found with this animal is that the public was fascinated by it, and we could use this shark as an ambassador to other marine life and motivate people to be engaged in protecting the ocean. As an ambassador, this shark, or the first shark.
And now these nations that we're in, which includes nations in the developing world as well, are responsible for over 40% of the world's seafood harvest. So that's kind of the idea, is to be able to minimize the bycatch or the other stuff that also comes up in the nets or on the lines when you're fishing, and then protect fish habitat itself. People often forget that fish just don't come out of nowhere. Just like us, they need homes and places to live, places to hide, places to eat as well. And so I'm going to focus today on protecting the prey, because it's really something that we don't think about a lot, as I said before. In a lot of these videos you've seen these amazing bait balls, which are into 1 pound of tuna. So that's basically, there's a very inefficient conversion ratio when you're transferring one source of food into another. And this is driving why so much of these fish are being pulled out of the water. We're now learning that the California coast and this California current ecosystem is basically one of the most important and has some of the highest densities of these large migratory ocean animals anywhere in the entire North Pacific Ocean. So we all may take it for granted that we get to go out there, and there are literally hundreds of thousands of the most common seabird off the California coast. Anyone know what that is, by the way?
Western Gull.
It looks like seagulls, and then look, there's a humpback whale coming up. These are sooty shearwaters. They come in massive groups, and what are they all doing? What you see here is they're all swarming and flying around, and they move in massive flocks together. They can actually smell schools of anchovies, and they dive in, and they're all here simply to eat anchovies. And it's really cool that these are this basically makes up about 50 to 60% of all the birds, is this one species off of our coast. And what's interesting, this is data from 57 of these. They're all tagged right off the coast here. And guess what they do? They don't even nest here. They go all the way down to New Zealand, where they've just fattened up from being here. They go down to New Zealand, lay eggs, feed their chicks there, and then go all the way up to these basic three major foraging spots. One off Asia, one up in the Gulf of Alaska, and then the California current. And so what this is really showing us is that this California current that we have, it's not just important for species that live here year-round. This is a destination spot that's bringing species in a globally significant way. And it's something that I think few people are aware of, is just how important the California current is on the planet in terms of this ocean. Other things, we hope that by protecting a lot of these forage fish and rebuilding, that many of these can come back. But now 85% of the fish that are caught off of California are these forage fish, which has made this industry one of the most politically powerful in the state as well, which makes dealing with existing fisheries extremely challenging. Something that we recently saw, and this is something that it keeps me up at night still, because this is not an unresolved issue. Over the last 10 years, 12 years, there has been a commensurate decline in both anchovy populations and sardine populations off of our coast. Over this 10 years, there's been basically over a 95% crash in both of these stocks, which is really one of the modern day crises. Similar, I don't know, many of you have heard the Cannery Row story off Monterey, but this is a massive concern, these declines.
maybe 3 or 4 million that watch everything that we do on social media. And so we're communicating to the young, we're communicating to the middle-aged, we're communicating to the old in all these countries of the world, particularly China, where you really have to make a difference. And that's what we're trying to do with One World, One Ocean. That's what we're trying to do with Humpback Whales. This film was honored as Best Film of the Year by our convention of IMAX theaters, and everyone loves it. We were very lucky in making this because we got great images that had never been before seen about this wonderful, wonderful species that is on the road to recovery.
I just want to say I had so much fun organizing this, and I met so many incredible people.